In the center of the Zarian Empire, deep in the royal palace, alien Queen Ligera sat on her silver throne. Her eyes glowed with violet light, her armor shining like polished stone. Around her, nobles and warriors stood silent, afraid to speak, unless she commanded. A messenger ran into the hall, shaking. His voice trembled as he knelt. "My queen, another outpost has fallen." Ligera narrowed her eyes. "Which one?" "Sector 8. The desert moon. 20 of our best, all gone. No bodies. Just..." He swallowed. "Just this, your grace." He handed her a burned metal plate. On it, scratched in blood, were 2 words: "For Earth." Gasps filled the throne room. Some whispered in fear, others stared in disbelief. But Queen Ligera only laughed. "Again with this foolish myth," she said coldly. "This human warrior, this ghost who kills alone, leaves no trace but words. A story to scare weak soldiers." "But your majesty," said her general, stepping forward, "every destroyed post tells the same tale. No explosions, no ships detected, just dead squads and the same message." Ligera stood from her throne. "Then send more troops. Let's see if this ghost dares face true warriors." Far from the palace, on the cold moon of Sector 9, a squad of elite Zarian soldiers marched through the ruins of their base. The Yadu night was silent. Too silent. Commander Thrall tapped his helmet. "Anything on scans?" "Negative," replied his second-in-command. "No life signs, no tech, nothing." "Impossible," Thrall muttered. "We lost contact only hours ago." Suddenly, a sharp whirring sound. One soldier turned, but it was too late. A blade flashed through the darkness, slicing clean. The rest panicked. Plasma guns fired wildly, but they hit nothing. One by one, they fell. In under 2 minutes, the entire squad was gone, and in the center of the base, written in sand with blood, "I am not your myth." Back in the palace, Queen Ligera stared at the footage from Sector 9. It was blurry. The camera shook, but in one frame, for less than a second, something moved. A figure in old, scratched armor. Not Zarian. Not any known species. A human? No. That couldn't be. Ligera sat forward, silent now. Her face was tight, thoughtful. "Play it again," she ordered. Her advisor spoke softly. "You saw it, didn't you? The way he moved. No fear, no sound. Not a soldier. A predator." She said nothing. "Shall we raise shields around the capital?" the advisor asked. "No," Ligera said. "This ghost wants attention. He is clever. Bold. If I hide, he wins." She rose and pointed toward the galaxy map. "We draw him out. Set a trap. And when he comes, I'll see this human ghost for myself." In a quiet, dark corner of space, aboard a small stolen Zarian transport ship, the human sat in silence. His armor was old, covered in scars and dust. His face was hidden behind a broken helmet. In his hand he held a tiny picture, a photo of a ruined Earth city, his home, gone. They destroyed everything, and now he hunted them, one base at a time. He listened to the intercepted message again. "The Queen herself will inspect the next front." He leaned back, eyes burning with cold fire. So the Queen finally wanted to meet him? Good. He had a message for her, and this time he would deliver it face to face. The Queen's personal warship floated above a silent planet called Varnock 6, a dead place. No wind, no birds, just broken rocks and old ruins from a forgotten war. Queen Ligera stood inside her observation deck. Her long cloak moved with the hum of the ship's engines. Around her were guards, loyal and sharp. The best of the best. She stared out the glass window. "So, this is where he'll show himself?" "Yes, my queen," said her general. "If the rumors are true, the human will come. We left the message, as ordered. The Queen walks here now." Ligera smirked. "Let's see if the ghost has the courage to face me." On the surface, the trap was set. Dozens of Zarian soldiers hid behind rocks, in caves, and inside cloaked vehicles. Drones flew overhead, all scanning, all waiting. Hours passed. Nothing. The Queen began to grow bored. Another waste of time, she said. But then, a loud clang. One drone dropped from the sky, then another. The screens blinked. Static. Then, silence. Report, the general shouted. Where is the drone feed? No answer. One by one, the soldiers' radios went dead. The Queen's eyes narrowed. He's here. Down on the rocky surface, one soldier saw movement. A blur, a shadow. He raised his rifle, a flash of steel, too fast to block. The soldier fell. The human didn't speak. He didn't run. He moved like smoke, like something not bound by flesh. Every step he took, another warrior fell, clean, fast, silent. Not even their screams had time to form. Inside one of the Zarian command trucks, a female officer watched in horror through a screen. It's just one man, she whispered. But he's like a weapon, a walking weapon. Back on the ship, the Queen heard the death count, 25, 37, 49. The general panicked. We must retreat, we underestimated him. But Ligera's voice was sharp. No, I want to see him, I want him captured alive. She stepped into her pod. Lower me to the ground. The Queen touched down in her personal drop shield. Her guards circled her in a tight formation. Their eyes moved fast, fingers on triggers. The rocks were still. Suddenly, a whisper behind them, too soft to understand. The guards turned, but it was too late. A smoke grenade burst in the center. White fog covered the area. Gunfire erupted. When the smoke cleared, all the Queen saw was the bodies of her personal guard, every one of them, except her. And across the rocks, standing tall, was him. The human. His armor was scratched, dirty, burnt. His helmet cracked, showing part of a rough, scarred jawline. His chest moved slowly. He wasn't breathing hard, even after killing so many. Ligera stood her ground. You killed my soldiers. He said nothing. She took a step forward. What do you want? Finally, he spoke, his voice deep and steady. I want you to understand. The myth is real. He dropped something. Her general's badge. Burned. Blood-stained. Then he turned and walked away into the fog, leaving her alive. Why? Back in the ship, Ligera was silent. No one dared speak. Finally, she whispered to herself. He could have killed me, but he didn't. Her advisor stepped forward. My Queen, shall we hunt him harder? She shook her head slowly. No, not yet. She stared at the blood-stained badge. This isn't war, she said quietly. This is personal. 3 nights passed. Queen Ligera sat alone in her war chamber, replaying the moment in her mind. The way he looked at her, the way he walked away. Not afraid, not angry, just calm. She stared at the badge he had dropped. Still stained, with blood. Still warm when she first picked it up. She had led armies, destroyed planets, yet this one human alone had made her hesitate. No one dared to mention him again, not even her strongest generals. But she could feel it, the fear growing in them, like a shadow in the corner of every eye. He wasn't a ghost anymore. He was real. The next day, on a distant station near the edge of the Empire, a new message arrived. Not from a ship, not from a communication tower. It was hand-delivered. A bag. Inside it, 4 rifles, all Zarian, broken, bent by hand, and a simple note. You're, not untouchable. Ligera read it again and again. He's challenging me, not my army. Me. Her advisor spoke softly. He wants a meeting. Then he'll have it, she said. The Queen gave strict orders. No weapons, no guards, just me and him. Her advisors protested, but she raised her hand. He walked through my defenses, like smoke. Soldiers won't stop him. but I need to understand him. The location was chosen. An old battlefield on neutral ground. A place where no side claimed victory. A broken city, half buried in ash and silence. At dusk, the Queen stepped, out alone. She walked through ruins, old steel, scorched bones, forgotten banners. The wind carried nothing but silence. Then, a footstep. Slow, heavy. She turned. There he was, standing by a broken statue. His armor was still damaged, still burnt. His face was still half hidden. But his eyes, clear now, looked straight into hers, dark, tired, strong. She did not raise her voice. "Why didn't you kill me?" He said nothing for a while, then replied, "Because you looked me in the eye." She frowned. "So? No one ever does." She stepped closer. "You're not what I expected, not a beast, not a savage." He smiled faintly. "Neither are you." For a moment they stood in silence. Then she asked, "Why are you doing this? Your planet is gone." He looked away. "Because if I stop, then the ones who died mean nothing. My people, my friends, my family. And you think hurting us makes it right?" "No. But it makes sure no one forgets us." She didn't speak for a long time. Then softly she asked, "And now?" "I came to offer something else," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "Peace?" "No," he said. "Truth." He reached into his armor and pulled out a data crystal. "I've seen something, a new threat, one even your empire can't stop. But I can't face it alone." She didn't take the crystal. "Why trust me?" "Because you listened." And with that he turned, walked into the shadows again, leaving the crystal at her feet. Later that night, alone in her chamber, Ligera placed the crystal in her terminal. It showed images, strange ships, unknown tech, planets falling in seconds. Even her toughest generals screamed in those recordings. She sat back, eyes wide. This wasn't about war anymore. This was survival, and the only one who had faced them before was him. Queen Ligera sat alone in the silent dark of her command chamber, the glowing screen still showing the footage the human had left her. Planets burned, moons cracked. Creatures she had never seen before moved through fire like shadows. They didn't speak. They didn't take prisoners. They consumed everything. She leaned back in her chair, her proud armor now feeling heavy. For the first time in her reign, she felt small. That same night, her advisors and generals met in the war hall. Angry voices echoed. "Lies," one shouted. "Propaganda," another hissed. "A trick to make us fear a ghost." But she silenced them with a look. "No, I saw it. I felt it," she said coldly. "The human didn't come to kill this time. He came to warn us." One general crossed his arms. "And you believe him?" She stepped down from her throne. "Yes, because he has no reason to lie. He already proved he can kill us. He doesn't need tricks. But he's our enemy. He is a weapon, one we didn't build but may need." The Queen sent out a signal, a personal one, short, simple. "Human, meet me again. This time, we speak as survivors." She waited. For 2 days there was no reply. Then, one word came back. "Agreed." They met again. This time in an old mining cave far from cities and soldiers. Just rock, silence, and two beings who once wanted each other dead. The human stood leaning against a pillar. She entered with only her voice. "I thought you'd vanish again." "I don't vanish," he said. "I wait." She stepped closer. "Then wait no more. You said there's a greater threat. Show me everything." He opened a portable screen. On it, maps, images, attack patterns, whole systems erased in days. "These aren't raiders," he said. "They're not here to conquer. They're here to clean. Anything with life is wiped." She watched the screen without blinking. These things, she whispered. They eat empires. He nodded. Yours is next. For a long moment, they just stood there, the screen between them. Finally, Ligeira asked, "What do you want from me?" "An alliance." She laughed bitterly. "You want peace now?" "No," he said. "Not peace. War. Real war. Side by side. We stop fighting each other. We fight them. And after?" He paused. "That depends on you." She looked down at the screen again. Her voice was softer now. "If you're lying, if this is a trick, you've seen what I can do alone," he cut in. "If I wanted your empire gone, it would already be bleeding." She looked at him. There was no smile, no threat, just truth. She took a deep breath. "Then we fight together. But under one rule." "What rule?" "I lead," she said. "You follow." He nodded. "Fine. But you protect me personally," she added. This time he gave a small smile. "Deal." Back on her ship, the Queen walked into the war room and dropped the human's data crystal on the table. "Call the generals," she said. Her advisors looked confused. "What should we tell them?" "Tell them the truth," she said, her voice cold and sharp. "The ghost we feared is now our shield." The first joint mission began at dawn. Queen Ligeira stood at the edge of the battlefield in her black command armor, watching the ruined city ahead. Smoke curled from broken towers. The sky was gray, filled with ash. Her new ally stood beside her, silent, still, and unreadable. The human. He hadn't spoken a word since they landed. He wore the same old armor, scarred and dented, but there was something in the way he moved. Calm, careful, dangerous. She glanced at him. "My army doesn't trust you." He didn't look at her. "Good. I don't trust them either." They entered the city with 24 of her elite soldiers. Queen Ligeira walked in the center. The human stayed at her side like a shadow. "Her," Commander reported. "No life signs detected, but something doesn't feel right." The Queen nodded. "Keep moving. Stay alert." Suddenly, a screech echoed from the broken buildings. Then came the first attack. Black creatures, tall and thin, leapt from the shadows. No eyes, no voices, just claws and speed. Zarian soldiers opened fire. Plasma blasts filled the street. But it wasn't enough. 2 soldiers went down, screaming. One of the monsters charged straight toward the Queen. She raised her weapon, but before she could fire, the human moved. Fast. He slammed into the creature with his full weight, tackled it to the ground and drove a long blade into its chest. Black blood sprayed, sizzling on the ground. The Queen stared. He didn't hesitate. He didn't speak. He just killed. More monsters came. One by one. The human didn't wait for orders. He ran ahead. He moved like a shadow, rolling under claws, leaping between broken walls, striking with brutal force. Not elegant, not pretty, but efficient. Deadly. He took hits. Cuts bled through his suit. But he never stopped. Ligeira tried to follow, but her guards pulled her back. "Stay behind, my queen. It's too dangerous." She watched the human tear through the enemy like a force of nature. This was no soldier. This was a monster on their side. After the fight ended, bodies of the creatures lay piled in the street. Black smoke rose. The surviving Zarian soldiers stood in stunned silence. "No," one clapped. No one spoke. They simply watched the human walk back toward the Queen, his blade dripping, his face covered in blood and dirt. He stopped before her. "You're alive," he said simply. She nodded slowly. "Because of you." He shrugged. That was the deal. Later that night, the Queen stood outside her tent looking at the stars. Her hands trembled slightly. She didn't know why. She had seen wars. Death. Victory. But never anything like him. He joined her without a word, sitting on a crate nearby. She spoke first. You fight like something broken. He didn't respond right away, then said, I am broken. She looked at him carefully. But you still protect. He nodded. Because I remember what it felt like when no one protected me. She sat beside him. The fire crackled between them. You're not a ghost, she whispered. You're real. He looked into the flames. Too real. She studied him. His scars, his silence, his pain. For the first time, she didn't see a myth or a weapon. She saw a man, a wounded one, a dangerous one, but loyal. To her. She placed her hand on his arm. Lightly. Just for a moment. You saved me today. He didn't. Look at her. Get some rest, Queen. More battles are coming. And he stood. Walked away into the night. But Ligeia sat there longer, staring at the flame, whispering to herself, You may be the monster, but now you're my monster. It was supposed to be a routine inspection. Queen Ligeia, dressed in a battle cape of her house colors, walked through the forward base with her generals. The human walked behind her, silent as always, like a shadow in armor. The soldiers still didn't speak to him. Some wouldn't look at him, but all moved aside when he passed. They feared him. They should have. Inside the command tower, her second-in-command, General Vortez, smiled as she entered. My queen, he said with a deep bow. The new weapons have arrived. May I show you personally? Ligeia nodded. Very well. Lead the way. The human didn't follow immediately. He stood near the entrance, staring at the walls. Something was off. Too quiet, too clean, too perfect. They reached the underground vault. A narrow hallway. Just one way in, one way out. The moment the queen stepped inside, the steel doors slammed shut. Gas hissed from the vents. Her eyes widened. Treachery! Outside, the human heard the door lock. He turned. Then he heard it, footsteps behind him. Soldiers, armed. Uniforms dark, eyes cold, not hers, a trap. They opened fire. The human dove behind cover. Sparks flew around him. His shoulder burned where plasma hit, but pain didn't stop him. He leapt into the open, bullets flashing off his armor. He grabbed the nearest soldier, snapped his weapon in half and slammed him into the wall. The next two went down with broken ribs. He didn't scream, didn't rage. He cut through them like paper. Inside the vault, Ligeia coughed in the gas. Her vision blurred. She stumbled to the wall, then the door exploded, flames burst, and through the fire, he came. The human, burnt, bleeding, but alive. He picked her up without a word and carried her out, his steps heavy, armor dented. Bullets followed him. He didn't stop. Outside, he set her down behind a steel barrier and checked her pulse. Still breathing. Barely. He tore off his own mask and locked it onto her face, giving her clean air, then stood again. More soldiers charged. He roared and charged back. When the queen opened her eyes, she was in the med bay. Her face was bruised, her vision foggy. Her hand gripped a torn piece of armor, his armor. She sat up. Where is he? She gasped. No one answered, until the door opened, and he walked in. His left arm hung limp. His eye was swollen, blood dried on his face. But he was standing. She stared at him, breathless. You came for me. He nodded. That was the deal. Later, in her private chamber, she called him again. Just the two of them. She stepped closer, her voice low. You gave me your air. You nearly died. I'd do it again. Why? She asked, her eyes searching his face. What am I to you? He didn't answer. So she stepped forward and placed a hand on his chest. Tell me. Finally, he said, You're the only one who looked at me and didn't see a weapon. Her voice cracked. You're more than a myth now. And you, he whispered, are more than a queen. The Zarian capital was silent. not because of fear, but because every citizen, every warrior, every noble, every servant was watching the Queen. Queen Ligeia stood on the Grand Tower's platform, her royal robe torn at the edge, her crown bent slightly from battle. Behind her stood the human, wounded, but proud. Today was not a day of war, it was a day of judgment. The High Council sat in front of her, their eyes cold. A voice rose from the center. You bring a human into our holy city, the same one who destroyed our bases, our people? Another added. He is a weapon, not a hero. You disgrace the throne by protecting him. The Queen raised a hand. They fell silent. Then she stepped forward. No, she said. He is not a weapon. He is my shield, my sword, my proof that even our greatest enemy can have honor. Gasps spread through the crowd. One elder hissed, You would trust him more than your own blood? She looked at them with fire in her eyes. He saved my life, twice. He gave me his breath when mine was fading. He bled so I could stand here. She turned and faced the people below the platform. Thousands gathered. She pointed to the human. This warrior, once called myth, is real. And today, I give him the highest honor of the empire. She pulled a golden crest from her belt and pinned it to his chest, the mark of royal bond. Shock spread like lightning. That mark was only given to a chosen protector, one who shared more than duty. It meant something deeper. It meant belonging. The human didn't move. He didn't understand at first. What is this? He whispered. She looked into his eyes. It means you are mine now, she said softly. Not as a servant, not as a soldier, as my equal, my chosen. You stand beside me, not behind. He was silent. For the first time, he didn't know what to say. Then finally his voice cracked. I was never meant to belong anywhere. She touched his hand. You do now. Suddenly the alarm blared. A messenger rushed to the tower. My queen. Enemy ships at the border. The creatures, they're here. Panic rippled through the council, but Ligeia stayed calm. She looked at the human. No more speeches, no more doubts. She turned to her people. Today, we fight as one. She raised her blade. Follow me. In the sky above, the alien ships darkened the stars. On the ground, the queen rode her war beast into battle. At her side, the human walked. One man, one myth. But now he wore the mark of a queen, and the whole galaxy would soon learn. He was no longer fighting alone.